Hello, class of 2023. Woo! Can you believe it? We're here. I mean, finally. It's hard to believe that we first stepped foot on this beautiful campus way back in 2019. I don't know about you, but in 2019, I was still rocking with an obscene side part and skinny jeans. And you know when you're a teenager and you sort of think you have the whole world figured out? Like you kind of act like you're cool and it's like cool to hate everything, but then all of a sudden, you're off to college. And you're like, see you never, mom and dad. Well, then you got to campus. And you met these orientation leaders that were all smiling just a little bit too widely, and everyone's super nice, and the professors are super sweet, and even the flowers are blooming, the sun is shining, and you can't help but start to suspect that the Jesuits might be pumping some laughing gas up in some water streams. Maybe it was just me, but as a jaded Seattleite who was used to overcast days and good old-fashioned seasonal depression, Santa Clara kind of felt like a big love fest. And I don't mean this with any drop of irony. Here at Santa Clara, we're just really nice to each other. We hold the door open for strangers, collaborate to help each other study for tests. Our classes are small enough to know everyone by name, and we share job opportunities and internships like they're falling from the sky. And trust me, you and I both know they are not falling from the sky. I mean, come on, all this lovey-dovey stuff on top of the perpetually sunny skies and palm trees, at some point it's a little corny, don't you think? And you start to wonder, what's the point of all this? And to be honest, I don't think I ever really understood it, at least until it wasn't there anymore. You see, before we even had a chance to finish our first year meal points, or even attend our first spring quarter danger, the pandemic hit. And, well, you know what happened next. It was a time of tumultuous loss and isolation. It was a time that revealed the worst in our institutions. But it was also a time that revealed the best in our communities. Yeah, maybe the Zoom classes were life-draining, and maybe you spent more time watching your professor try to figure out how to screen share than actually learning anything. But do you remember those few times when it was actually kind of nice, where you were assigned to a breakout room and someone cracked a joke and you all got to chatting, and for just 1 second, it sort of felt you were connected to the SCU community again? Or when you attended an MCC Gen meeting and you met all the eager young first years who really wanted to get involved, so you're like, why not play Among Us for the 1,000th time? You know, oh, sorry, my hat is just doing a whole thing. Should I? Okay. Thank you. You know, a statistic came out during that year from an SCU wellness survey that showed that during the pandemic, student-run RSOs were the main source of creating feelings of belonging for SCU students. When we couldn't find community in our classes, or in the residence halls, or in Benson, we found it in each other. We were the ones dedicated to staying connected and stoking the love that fuels our community. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, I guess. But the really inspiring thing was when we came back to campus. And after finally joyfully reuniting with my brilliant, beautiful best friends, I looked around and saw that we all shared something familiar in all our faces. We were a bunch of overgrown first years who had spent the last 2 years cooped up inside, and all of a sudden, we were juniors. And we had all these underclassmen now looking up to us. We were asked to be directors, hosting events that we had never even attended before, to be making huge decisions for the future of our student organizations, to lead research projects despite having major imposter syndrome, to be student body vice president. But the thing is, we did it. We rose to the occasion, and we did it so well. We rebuilt the communities that were once separated, showed the underclassmen what it meant to be a Bronco, honored the legacy of traditions left by the upperclassmen who came before us, and we burnt some couches. But to me, what was most inspiring was that we became advocates. When our campus was struck with tragedy, we demanded better mental health resources. When our school voiced a commitment to DEI, we called for more resources for our students of color. And when our communities were torn apart by violence, we developed better student safety and violence prevention methods. We were leaving the campus better than how we found it. After spending some time warming up to the idea, I think I get what all this lovey-dovey business is about now. You see, I think there's something to this type of love that we see at Santa Clara. there's something to the importance of fostering love as an impetus to radical action. What does that mean? Well, feminist author Bell Hooks writes that there's a love that is far-reaching and generous, a love that makes you smile at the people you don't know when they pass by, a love that makes you excited to see your friends or your favorite professor in class the next day, a love that makes you more empathetic to yourself and others. When you let this type of love into your life, when you learn to love yourself, your friends, your neighbors, your community, and most importantly, yourself, when you really let yourself love in those ways, you begin to become more attuned to the needs of those around you. Loving your community means becoming an advocate for your community. You want the best for everyone, and so you're willing to do what it takes to make sure that everyone's well taken care of. Growing up, my mom used to say this thing at the dinner table, and I think it reflects it kind of well. That means just watching you eat is enough to make me full. And at Santa Clara, we want to make sure everyone eats well. And that's why we advocate. Radical love is what makes us work so hard to build a legacy, to make sure that SCU students will be taken care of long after we're gone. I'm a first-generation college student, and I'm from a city where we have more overcast days than sunny days. And before this, I'd never seen a palm tree before in my life. 4 years ago, I would have never thought that I would have found the loving home that I found in Santa Clara today. But that's what we do. We build communities. Communities where we can be cherished in our most authentic selves. Communities like LEAD, where I met my brilliant, beautiful best friends who teach me every single day that I can expand my capacity for love. My hope is that we only grow as a class more abundant in our empathy, to the point where this love can extend beyond the scope of our own community, that we can love so indiscriminately so that every single person and creature and life form on this earth is something that we feel compelled to advocate for. I mean, that's the Santa Clara mission after all, isn't it? To use our education, our radical empathy, to take care of one another. Things look a lot different than how they did when we first got here. We have our first woman president. Our student body is so much more diverse than it once was. I'm not wearing my hair in a side part anymore. We have new organizations and leaders and traditions. Our campus is a lot better than how it was when we first came to it, and I think we played a big role in that. We're older, kinder, and more empathetic than we used to be. And now we're prepared for the worst of it. Because at a certain point in your life, in your big, scary adult life, bad things will happen. Possibly even unprecedented pandemic, global pandemic, lockdown bad. Just make sure that when they do happen, you have someone to hold on to. Make sure that you've loved generously and created the relationships that will get you through it. Live in community authentically, laugh loudly, love generously, and advocate for the ones you love fiercely. Congratulations, class of 2023.